All right, so I'm going to go through these really, really fast. All right, so you will be asked to sketch the following number set. So you will be given a line. So for this one, since it's natural numbers, so it's saying the set of all x's such that x is greater than 4 and less than or equal to 10, and x is a natural number. So that means that we're going to have to put our points. Right? There cannot be a line drawn because line drawings mean we're including decimals, and natural does not include decimal. So we would start at 4, work our way up to 10, so 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, so we know that it cannot be equal to 4. So if you want to put an open circle, that's fine, but you don't have to put a dot there or anything there. But from 5 to 10, it will be colored in. Right? And it's just going to be these points because natural numbers are only whole positive numbers. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 are natural numbers, but 6.5 is not, which is why we cannot draw the line. All right, so this is our answer for that one. All right, so for problem number 2, just remember, this is not being multiplied. These two terms are not being multiplied. It's 4 times x minus 3. So yes, we will distribute the 4 in there, and negative 8 times this. Yes, we will distribute the negative 8 in. But we will subtract all these answers or combine or like terms. It's not saying that these two are being multiplied with these two, which is the common mistake I saw in the test. Right? So after we distribute to 4, we're left with 4x minus 12. After we distribute to negative 8, it's negative 16x plus 40. We combine our like terms, so negative 12x. And minus 12 plus 40 is plus 28. Final answer. All right, so for this one, it's a set of all x's such that x is greater than negative 10 and less than or equal to negative 3. Remember, when nothing is written, it's automatically assumed to be all reals, which means our solution will be a line connecting everything. So we will draw our numbered line. We're going from negative 10 to negative 3. So it's not including negative 10, it's just greater than, so it's an open circle there. It is including negative 3, so it's a closed circle there. And then our real numbers are just connecting our 2 points. All right, if you have questions for these, reach out, but I'm going to go through these quickly. But since it's just real and not natural, we are connecting because every number in between, negative 5.5 is an answer. So we need to make sure that we include negative 5.5, which is why we're drawing the line. Negative pi is an answer. So negative 3.14 and ongoing forever is an answer. So that's why we need to make sure we draw the line. All right, so for this one, remember, when you multiply it, some of the mistakes is people are distributing it all at once. We need to take 2 of our binomials, doesn't matter which 2, and you multiply them first. So we're going to distribute the x in, 2x squared plus 3x minus 6x minus 9. All right, then we're going to combine our like terms here, 3x minus 6x, so it's 2x squared minus 3x minus 9. And then we need to multiply our last binomial, x plus 4. So then 2x squared, that will then give me 2x cubed, plus 4x squared minus 3x squared minus 12x. And just for the sake of our colors, I'm going to use a different color for this one, so minus 9x and minus 36. All right, then we will combine our like terms, so we get 2x cubed. This will give us plus x squared. This will give us minus 21x and minus 36. All right, final answer. Remember, once we see, this is saying factor completely. Once we see 4 terms, we know we're going to group. So 3x cubed plus 7x squared, always plus in between, and this sign follows with our numbers, so minus 6x minus 14. Here we have an x squared that we can factor out, so we're left with 3x plus 7. We know it needs to be positive, so I know I'm going to factor out a negative, and I can factor out a 2, so it's minus 2, and then we're left with positive 3x plus 7. Since these two are the same, we can go ahead and combine these 2 factors into its own binomial, so x squared minus 2, and then we're left with 3x plus 7. All right, so for this one, remember the first thing is we need to rearrange them in descending order, so it's minus 2x squared minus 8x plus 42. Then we want this to be a positive number, and we need to take out our GCF, so we're going to factor out the negative 2. And we're left with x squared plus 4x minus 21. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and just factor this portion. So now we're going to write our x. This 1 times negative 21, that's minus 21. The 4 drops. So since it multiplies to negative, I know it's going to be a positive and negative. Numbers that multiply to 21 and have a difference of 4, 7, and 3. So since this is positive 4, our 7 must be positive and our 3 is negative. And now we're going to go ahead and divide by the number in front of our x squared. So that's 1. So we're left with, remember we start from the bottom, now we're here, so we're left with x plus 7, and then it's x minus 3, and we just cannot forget about our GCF, so it's minus 2. All right, step 1, we're factoring out our negative to make this positive. Remember, I said that you can answer this a few different ways, but we want our x squared to be positive, so we're factoring out a negative 1, and we're left with 4x squared minus 9. Since I have two terms and it's a subtraction, we're looking to see, can I take the square root of each? So this will give me 2x and 3, and since I can, our two square roots are 2x and 3, 2x and 3, and the number that has a minus in front of it, we change its sign plus and minus, and we have the negative out front. All right, so for this one, remember, whenever we have three terms, we look for a GCF first, but there is no GCF here. After you look for your GCF, when there's three terms, we want to see, is it a perfect trinomial square? Because it's the easiest and quickest way to factor. So we look for these two to be positive. They are checked. Then we look to see, can I take the square root of each? Well, this square root gives me 4x. This square root gives me 9y. Then I multiply them together. That's 36xy. And since if we were to have a plus b squared, we know our leading coefficients are 1, 2, and 1. So that means that this needs to be double because it's 2ab. So we would double that. So after we double it, that's equal to 72xy. We look and see, does that match the middle term? And if it does, let's disregard the sign for right now, just the numbers and the variables. If it does, then that means that this factors out into a binomial square. So we write our two square roots, 4x and 9y, and then whatever sign we have in front of that middle term is the sign that goes here. So since it's minus, it's minus. If this was plus, then it would be plus. All right, so for this one, we're now look for a GCF. There is none. We don't need to rewrite it. It already is. So then we're going to go ahead and draw our x method. We can't take the square root of 3, so we know it's not a perfect trinomial square. So we're going to write the x method. We multiply our 12 and our 3, so it's positive 36. This number drops, so it's negative 20. So if two numbers multiply to be positive and they add up to be negative, that means they both have to be negative. So numbers that multiply to 36 and add to 20 are 18 and 2. So then we put 18 and we put 2. Now remember, we then need to go ahead and divide by the number in front of our x squared, so they both get divided by 12. Negative 18 over 12 reduces to negative 3 over 2, so we no longer need that. Negative 2 over 12 reduces to negative 1 over 6, so we no longer need that. And remember, we start from the bottom, so it's 2x, and now we're here, minus 3. We start from the bottom, so it's 6x, and now we're here, minus 1. Final answer. All right, the very first thing we do is we look for a GCF. They're all divisible by 2, so our GCF is 2. And we're left with x cubed plus plus 2x squared minus 4x minus 8. All right, then after that, since we have four terms, we're going to group. I'm going to go ahead and circle this and star this so we do not forget. All right, then when we group this, it's x cubed plus 2x squared, always plus in between, minus 4x minus 8. So we factor out the x squared, and now we're left with x plus 2. So I know it needs to be positive, so I know I'm factoring out a negative. And then we can factor out a 4, and I'm left with x plus 2. All right, then from here, since these two are both being multiplied to the same binomial, I can combine them. So it's x squared minus 4 times x plus 2. And remember, if I give you x squared minus 4 as the original problem and ask you to factor this, it's a binomial. We have a subtraction sign. I can take the square root of 4, and I can take the square root of x squared. So that will factor out to x plus 2 and x minus 2. So just because we factored once, it doesn't mean that we're done. So this can keep going. So it's x plus 2 and x minus 2 times our original x plus 2. And don't forget about our GCF. We bring that down, so times 2. And you can write it like this, or you can write it as 2 times x minus 2 times x plus 2 squared, or in any other order that we have there. All right, that's it for this video.